let's turn now to another startup shaking things up in its own world. SafetyCulture's valuation reaching $1.6 billion, officially a unicorn, after the global technology company's value soared due to a $73 million funding round led by global venture capital and private equity firms Insight Partners. So joining me now, Luke Anear, the Chief Executive Officer and founder of SafetyCulture. Luke, it's great to see you this afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us. Talk to me more about your company, what it is aiming to do.
Good afternoon, Kristen. SafetyCulture, we started out with a checklist app when there was just myself and one other person in our garage in my home in 2011. And so we basically set about making it easy for people in the workplace to be able to maintain the highest standards and be able to check on the things that matter. And today we're now built it into an operations platform. So people use us for incident reporting, for training. We acquired the company EdApp last year to be able to roll out our micro learning and training platform. And we've also got an insurance business now, Mitti, where we can underwrite the risk. So we've moved a long way from just a simple checklist when we started.
Of course you did, $1.6 billion. That valuation alone, definitely notable. Congratulations, Luke. Who are some of your biggest customers using this?
Yeah, we see customers like a core hotel group or American Airlines, Starbucks. There's really quite a big cross section of customers. That's not limited to any one industry. And so we've had this kind of very fortunate position through COVID in particular, where we were never severely impacted because of the breadth of our customer base. And so people who need to be able to walk around each day and check what's working and what's not in the workplace, and then have that information flow to their team so that they can make better decisions as they go about operating their business. That's kind of what we do, essentially.
Now, the coronavirus obviously has upended office life as we know it, and big questions, at least here in America, will people return to the office? Data show that just about half want to return, half want to stay home because it is more convenient to work from home. How do you help with the new world that we live in, knowing that the coronavirus has impacted the office space?
Yeah, look, we're seeing obviously that change to a hybrid model. Some companies are allowing people to completely work at home. Some, just because of the nature of their work, they'll always remain out in the field or at the office, and others are going to be using a combination of both. And so whether people need to assess their homework conditions or whether they need to assess the changing office landscape, either way, SafetyCulture gives them the ability to be able to assess that. But we're certainly seeing those trends, in particular as cities and regions reopen. We see some of these snap lockdowns that are happening now. Australia certainly led, I think, the world in that regard, and we've managed it fairly well. In other parts of the world, as businesses are reopening, we're seeing them have to check many more things. We see customers like Kmart, for example, go from perhaps hundreds of checks a month to now many, many thousands. And so they're changing the behaviors. Their awareness of really standards in the workplace are at an all-time high. This is really the largest repurposing of skills we've seen since World War II globally. And so people are having to relearn new ways of working, and they need to make sure that they're checking the most critical areas of their businesses every single day, not just once a year or once a quarter, which is what we'd seen in the past. We're now seeing people do lots of small checks more regularly so that they can maintain the standards for their customers and continue to reopen.
Have those critical safety checks changed, though, in the wake of the coronavirus? What is critical today? Is that different from what was critical a year and a half ago?
Yeah, in particular, you saw senior managers really the people that were responsible for safety and quality in the workplace, whereas today we're seeing frontline workers, and not just, emergency responders, but frontline workers in the sense that a waitress in a cafe or a waiter or somebody who's delivering a parcel, they're now who we're calling the frontline workers in the defense against COVID. And that transition has really been significant. So we're seeing people who perhaps never were responsible for maintaining these standards, that were kind of at the end of a procedure. They're now the ones who are actually doing the checks, and they're actually thinking and becoming aware about what the risks are in the workplace and what they need to be able to do to mitigate those risks each and every day.
All right, SafetyCulture founder and Chief Executive Officer Luke Anear. Luke, thanks so much, and congratulations on both the round and that $1 billion valuation.